Welcome to Axis Pakistan. I'm Omer Farooq Khan. Today we are talking about a border that's always one spark away from catching fire. Pakistan and Afghanistan locked in a fragile 48-hour ceasefire that's supposed to calm things down. While recording this podcast, less than 24 hours remain before the truce expires. But guess what? Both sides are claiming the other one begged for it. Yeah, that's how tense things are. The truce began at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, 6 p.m. local time. And Pakistan's Foreign Office called it a window for dialogue. But across the border, the Taliban spokesperson, Zabiullah Mujahid, said the ceasefire happened at Pakistan's insistence. And he never mentioned a 48-hour limit, any 48-hour limit. So before the guns even cooled down, the blame game had already started. Ahead, ahead of the ceasefire announcement, Pakistan had carried out airstrikes in Kabul and Spin Buldak in Kandahar province. It was a loud message. Enough is enough. Relations between the two countries are already at rock bottom. And this latest flare up just drove them deeper into the ditch. And behind all this is one issue, the TTP, the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. Pakistan says rein them in. Kabul publicly says, privately it says something else, but in publicly it has this stance that no, they're not our problem. And everyone else is holding breath. Now the TTP and the Afghan Taliban go way back long. They fought together against the same enemy, the United States and NATO. The TTP gave Afghan Taliban shelter, food, and even fighters, including the suicide bombers, during those long years. Now, with the Taliban in power, Pakistan feels that debt is being repaid in the worst possible way because the TTP is attacking Pakistan and Kabul doesn't seem in a hurry to stop them. And then there's India because no regional story is complete without Delhi stepping in or at least being accused of it. Things really heated up when acting Afghan Foreign Minister Amir Khan Muttaqi made the recent visit to India. The visit itself was controversial, but what made headlines was that women journalists were reportedly kept out of the Taliban presser in New Delhi. That didn't go down well at all. Indian opposition parties went after the Modi government, saying you are giving legitimacy to a regime that bans women, and now even our press. So India suddenly found itself defending a photo opportunity it thought would show diplomatic leadership, but instead it looked messy. But here's the thing: India isn't talking to the Taliban because it suddenly likes them or it started liking them. It's talking to them because of a strategy. New Delhi wants a foothold in Kabul. It wants to protect its old investments and more importantly, make sure Pakistan doesn't have all the influence in Afghanistan. It's also about regional optics, being seen as a power that matters in Afghan affairs. Of course, that that's exactly what bothers Pakistan. Pakistan sees the Taliban leaning toward India as not just a diplomatic problem but a security one. And yet, when you strip away all the noise, Pakistan does have a clear military advantage: air power, uh, artillery, and reach. But in this kind of conflict, power isn't everything. Diplomacy, pressure, and timing matter just as much. So here's the big question: will Pakistan pressure the Taliban into acting against the TTP, or convince them? Maybe a bit of them, a bit of both. Military pressure to make the cost clear, and back channel diplomacy to offer an off ramp, because everyone knows this: if the Taliban push back hard, Pakistan gets dragged into a long, unpredictable conflict, and nobody wants that. Let's not forget the United States in all this. Washington might not have troops here on ground anymore, but it's still watching. It doesn't want another hotspot when the world's already juggling Ukraine, Gaza, and the South China Sea. So the US quietly supports anything that calms the border, and it's likely nudging both sides, even if from the sidelines. Now, as the ceasefire clock keeps ticking, there are few possibilities. Uh, One, it gets extended and the two sides talk, maybe even agree on some joint mechanism against the TTP. Two, the clock runs out. A single border clash happens and boom, back to square one. Or three, we see a managed cooling off, maybe with a little help from countries like China or Qatar. China has already said it stands ready to continue a constructive role for improvement in the two countries' relations. Which one happens depends on how both sides play the next 24 hours. And meanwhile, social media is doing what it does best: making everything worse. Both Pakistan and Afghan users are in full blown frenzy, posting victory clips, fake videos, and patriotic hashtags. It's a digital battlefield, and sometimes more dangerous than the real one. Because when the people get emotionally charged, governments lose room to compromise. So, where does this leave us? Pakistan has the upper hand, militarily, sure, but it also has the bigger responsibility. The Taliban, on their part, need to decide whether protecting the TTP is worth risking their own fragile legitimacy. And India, it's walking a fine line, trying to stay relevant in Kabul while facing criticism at home. The US is watching, China is calculating, and the border remains tense. In other words, everyone has moving pieces, but no one is holding a winning card yet. If this truce holds, even briefly, it could be the start of something useful, a chance to restart, to reset a dangerous pattern. If it collapses, we might be talking again in a few days, only with louder explosions in the background. Either way, this story isn't ending soon, because the Pakistan Afghanistan relationship has never really been about war or peace. It's about both, all the time. I'm Omer Farooq Khan. This is Axis Pakistan. Until next time, stay safe and stay tuned.